Yeah, that's what I was
That's
thinking.
what I
Just to
do.
kind of brighten up my audio, because I know I have a lot of, well, not a lot of echo, but I know the office I'm in has some echo to it.
Yeah, I know it's like different with different um things. All right, we're live, so all right, three, two, one. Well, I don't even remember what the fuck to say.
Hello,
Three,
it's
two,
been a while, everyone.
three, two, one. This is Josh. From BatYard Productions. I know the ending. What the fuck do we say? This
We'll
is
just wing it. We'll get back in the groove.
no, okay. Three, two, one. This is Josh from Metropolis, bring you the finest of Batman and Superman in pop culture. I'm Josh from Metropolis. I already said that. And I'm here. I'm with my co-host.
As always, I'm Jerry, your Green Lantern from O. We're doing a duo
Yeah.
episode tonight. Matt got
Yes.
captured by the Penguin, and he's being forced to eat 100 pounds of sardines,
Right.
unfiltered.
Exactly. He's doing a challenge with Cool Hand Luke. He captured the Penguin captured Matt and Cool Hand Luke and having a sardine challenge. And I think Matt's losing. Yeah, it's been a while since we did this. I completely forgot the intro, but that's okay. This is going to be a bonus episode. We're not doing Harry Potter 2 with and whatever the other
Natural
thing
magic and muscle.
whatever the other thing Matt picked was. So we're doing a bonus podcast. This is our first time we're just kind of playing around with the idea. We're probably going to do a few more of these. Um, we have a couple in the works, but I think this will be a fun thing. So today we have Jerry and I. I'm sure there'll be times there'll be Matt and Jerry or me and Matt. We'll kind of flip it around, or maybe it'll be all three of us. That's kind of ideally what we would like to have, but that's okay. Um, so yeah, I guess we're going to the BSBS segment. If you didn't realize, the topic of today's episode is how we would incorporate Superman into the Dark Knight universe. This was a comment sent by one of our viewers way back,
We're
and
finally getting to it. We
we're
apologize.
finally getting to it. I know we mentioned it on a podcast like so far down the line. We're like, oh, we'll talk about it. But like it was just seemed like such a meaty topic that we never really found time to really play around with the idea. Um, so we're doing it now. I wish I could remember the person's name who gave us a question, but it's been that long that I don't remember. But if you guys have any ideas that you want us to do for bonus episodes or bonus pods, definitely let us know down in the comments below, and we'll definitely, shout you out and put your name out there, and we'll do this more frequently. I think this will be a fun thing to do. So we're gonna move on to the BSBS segment. If you guys don't know, BSBS stands for BS Batman Superman. So just or whatever DC news or any news we want to talk about. I just want to mention one thing, and then Jerry can take the floor. I just want to mention the passing of Paul Rubens.
Yeah.
Paul Rubens, the famous comedian actor, most notably known for Pee Wee Herman, especially like his movie with Pee Wee's Big Adventure, directed by Tim Burton, which is one of my favorite movies. He passed away July 30th, 2023. Um, it's a sad day. I guess he was battling cancer for numerous years, never announced it, and just, I guess he just wanted the fans to just rejoice and just enjoy him while he was here without, like, giving any pity. But, I just wanna say he was born in Peekskill, New York, which is not too far from Matt and I, Poughkeepsie, New York. It's about, like, maybe an hour away. So I just wanted to mention that, which is pretty cool. So Jared, do you have any, fond memories of Pee Wee Herman or Paul Rubens or anything?
I've I've watched Pee Wee's Big Adventure, but I more so remember the TV show, and I really thought the
Oh,
TV show was a fever dream because I'm
yeah,
like,
it
what
is.
is this? It's wacky, it's goofy. I think this man might be some kind of predator. I, but
It is a
it's a
really
lot
odd
of I had a lot of very fun and just unusual memories with the TV show. I definitely will miss him. You know, Pee Wee Herman is one of those shows where it's like you sit there and watch it and you don't think you're going to get a whole lot of enjoyment out of it. and the more you watch it, the more you just sit there and just laugh and just carry on having a good time.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the show is a fever dream. The whole opening is just, like, batshit insane. The whole show is batshit insane. Pee-wee's Playhouse is a show. I didn't really watch it, like, I watched a few episodes, like, growing up, and I mostly watched Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and that's, like, still one of my favorite movies. We'll probably do that on the podcast at some point, recommend it. But, yeah, Paul Rubens also, in the DC is known for his part in the DC universe, known as the Penguin's father in Batman Returns and in the Gotham show. He played the Penguin's father, and he also did the voice of
Hmm.
Batman Brave and the Bold. So,
Yes, he
you
did.
know, that's fun. So he did contribute, his roles to the Batman universe, most notably as well. So just wanted to mention that. Rest in peace, Paul Rubens. You'll definitely be missed. So, Jerry, the floor is yours.
I also have a voice actor that he just passed recently, Johnny Hardwick, the voice of Dale Gribble on King of the Hill.
Oh,
He just
yes, I
passed
did
on
hear
the
about that.
8th. And it's very sad because they were in the talks of bringing the show back again. And I think they said he had a few lines or a couple of episodes recorded, but unfortunately he did pass away earlier last week. In fact, he passed on the 8th.
Yeah, I did hear about
And
that. I heard that, like, they had a couple shows recorded, I guess, like, they're gonna
yeah,
reboot it, you were saying.
it's very, very sad because not too long, before he had passed, I was watching one of my favorite episodes of King of the Hill when it was Dale with his wife Nancy. And everybody who's watched King of the Hill knows Dale is that crazy neighbor that you tell your kids to avoid. But
Yeah.
Nancy was going through hair loss because she has her affair with John Redcorn. And Dale's obviously people say he's oblivious, but I say that Dale knows. But Nancy's his wife; she accepts him for who he is. So he's like, you know what? If somebody else is giving my wife an emotional piece that I can't offer, who am I to judge? And obviously he's not the biological father of uh his of John Redcorn's love child with his wife Nancy, but he does love his son Joseph all the same and cares very deeply for him, which I always thought was very touching because you can tell, with John Redcorn being an indigenous person and his son taking right after him and all his facial features and basically just a copy and reprint. And very, very sad. That death did hit me a little bit hard. Dale Gribble is one of my favorite characters from King of the Hill, so he will be, missed very, very much.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Um, yeah, so I have a question for you, but, like, before we get into that, do you have any other BS?
Just small BS. Everyone, if you haven't marked your calendars, mark it for this Friday for the official start of the DCU universe with Blue Beetle, James Gunn's, first entry into his, new storytelling of the DC universe. All the early reviews I've seen said, it's a pretty good movie. Everybody's liking it and having fun,
It's
which
out already?
I think they might have done some early showings, in
Oh.
a couple of different places. I know
Mhm.
tomorrow for sure, they're gonna have like the day early release at like
Right.
midnight or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. It looks
I'm
okay.
gonna give it a chance because the worst it could do is just suck.
Yeah, I think honestly, I don't think it's gonna suck. I think it's gonna be very average, which honestly is probably worse because, like, at least if it sucks, it's, like, will be memorable. It just seems like more of the mill, like, middle of the ground, like, origin story movie about a superhero, like, that I've seen a million times. It just reminds me of, like, Spider-Man, like,
Yeah,
and we had, like, 3 Spider-Man reboots, So, like
too many. I'm tired of watching Uncle Ben die.
yeah, I
And
agree.
and then
I don't
I
know, it
just
might be
wanted
good.
to Yeah, I'm hoping it's good. And then I just wanted to very quickly just throw it in the air for people in case you wanted to do it. The Exorcist, which was a movie I made myself conquer my fear of, and I made everybody else watch.
Right.
They're having their 50th anniversary October 1st. So if you wanted to see the movie in theaters, I plan to go see it personally because I think it would be a great way to start off, uh, Spooktober and scary season and all the fun stuff that comes with October. And I think there might be another couple of movies that are having their anniversary. So be on the lookout for that. I know I'm definitely going to be mentioning it. So that's all I really had. Not too much. I had more, but it's been a crazy time between work and play on the podcast.
Yeah. No, I get you for sure. So I just have one question for you. I know I asked you this before, but since it's a BS segment, this whole episode is going to be a BS segment. What are your top 5 favorite BatYard's Finest episodes? I know, um, I can answer it first if, like, you need some time. Um, I have
I have
4
my
written
episodes.
down. Okay, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
have mine. So definitely the very first episode, when it was me, you, Josh, and cousin Tony for the very first time. And you guys had asked me to come on for the Mortal Kombat episode. And you couldn't tell it, but I was incredibly nervous. And I was like, well, I've never done anything like this. And these guys are professionals. They've been doing this for a while. So I'm just gonna come on here and just fuck everything up. And
No,
then,
we definitely didn't know what we were doing.
it was great fun. It definitely, once I got into it and everybody was talking, I'm like, okay, this is fun. We're just, we're all just exchanging viewpoints, ideas, things we liked and didn't like. And obviously after that, I asked like, hey, would it be okay with you guys if I come on as another host? And obviously I've been here ever since. And that episode was just a ton of fun. We had fun when we watched Primal, I think was the short for that episode,
Oh, yeah, it was.
if
It
I
was
remember
Primal.
correctly.
Yeah.
And then we just ripped Mortal Kombat to shreds. And I'm like, I need people to just absolutely dog walk this movie. That was a very fun episode, very memorable. I think back to that a lot. I'm like, if I never joined that episode, I'd probably just be sitting back as a watcher instead of being here on the screen and talking and giving my opinions on stuff.
No,
That one's
definitely need to
definitely
do it more.
like number one. What else? That one, the Cool Hand Luke episode, that was really
Yeah,
that one. And
that's one of my favorite too.
it's a tie for second because it's Cool Hand Luke, and I can't think of it, but it was the older movie you recommended.
Marlon Brando on the waterfront. Is it that one?
I think it was that one. Yeah. Yeah, it was that one because that was a movie, that had a lot of references in other pop culture that I've been seeing forever and a day, but never
Yeah.
put a name to it. And watching, I'm like, oh, this movie's actually like, there's a lot of moving parts, so it's hard to keep up with, but everything is just like, I love the camera work, I love the acting, everything is just super, super good, and it was just all around a fun movie and episode. And I can't remember the short. The movie stuck out the most because that's where I was like, oh, that's where this line came from. That's where this infamous camera shot's always been coming from. So those
I
are
think
my
it was
two picks as a tie for second. I know that's kind of
okay.
cheating,
No,
but
I like
like,
that. They kind of fit. I feel like they kind of fit the same kinda mold, at least, like, the same kinda itch if you're feeling like an old school movie. They're not the same kinda movie, but I get what you mean.
third is definitely when Matt recommended us Godzilla because
Oh, yeah,
it's
that
a
was cool.
it's
That was a good
the
one.
it was I loved the movie, but it brought back a little bit of bittersweet memories because I have an aunt. She's just a big of a Godzilla fan as Matt, and she had a lot of the toys, like the remote control ones, and even the ones that could articulate. And then 13 years ago, we had a really bad flood down here in Tennessee, and she lost
Well,
everything during the flood. and a lot of it was just unrecoverable. And so I was watching, and I'm like, oh man, my aunt would really just love this to pieces that I'm watching the old Godzilla and just having the time of my life with it. So that one was, and it's not any in the particular order that I enjoyed one over another. It's just the ones that I'm picking stick out the most in my memory
Yeah, no,
as
I get
far
that.
as the most enjoyment.
Right.
Fourth was definitely. I know you said you're not a big anime fan, but when I had you guys watch Cowboy Bebop and Lupin
Oh,
the Third,
yeah.
Castle of Cagliostro, I was like, I love these
Yeah.
individual series, and I was worried. I'm like, Josh might not like it because it's anime, and anime isn't for everyone. And I think that was like one of the first times we had like everything was a like a it might have been like nines across the board or perfect tens, but we all were in like very unanimous agreement on like this was really good. That
Yeah,
one,
no, that was like yeah, that was like when I enjoyed everything, like, on the screen, like, both animes, like, I fell in love with. Like, I knew the what was it wasn't Lupin, was it? That
yeah, it
was
was
with the
Lupin.
it was, okay, because I actually seen that one before, and I did enjoy it. Like, so that was the one anime I actually had, like, prior knowledge to, like, that I actually seen that I enjoyed, so I would like to see more of that, like, there's other movies. I would get into that.
Yeah,
Like
I
I said,
have I got a couple more like it's like subtly hitting away bangers tucked away over a couple of curveballs I'm gonna throw in eventually.
yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I think, there's actually, like, a couple animes I have in my back of my head, like, back of my
Oh
pocket that I'm gonna
wow.
throw out, but, like, they're movies I haven't seen, but they're, like, you know,
Hmm.
like they're ones that, like, I know are pretty high notoriety, like, they have, like, a high scoring, so, like, there's stuff, like, I wanna throw out at some point, but, I we gotta have variety and stuff, but, like,
Yeah.
I think there's anime for everyone, like, I don't like the majority of animes, but there are a select few that I do enjoy. So, I'm not gonna, like, discredit a whole art form because there is stuff, like, I like, but, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
there's
It's all about finding what appeals to you.
yeah, I think there's, like, a lot of tropes too that are, like, very similar, and they're like, "Okay." Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that.
Yeah.
And definitely the last pick is when Matt made us watch Kiss meets Phantom of the Park.
Oh, yeah.
That episode filled me with such a I didn't know I had such a primal rage and hatred because the whole time you guys were like, Jerry, you okay? You've been real quiet. I was just seething in just this quiet, unbridled rage. And I was like, this movie was fucking terrible. I
Yeah.
wanted to go outside and jump off the bridge because this movie wasted, I think, like an hour and 20 minutes of my time. There was Gene Simmons shooting fire out of his fucking toenails and all this other weird crap about them riding lightning bolts. It was even though it was a bad pick, we all just had a ton of fun with it.
It's definitely, a memorable episode, like, listening to it. I'm like, "Okay," like, I hated the movie, but, like, listening to it, it's definitely entertaining. I think, like, those are some of the more entertaining episodes is, like, when we all hate on something, like, when we completely hate something. Um, or there's, like, episodes that, like, we have varied opinions, and I think those are, like, really interesting too. Um,
Yeah, because I had a few of those, but I'm like the ones that I said they definitely stuck out the most
mhm.
because it's every episode's its own unique piece, but those I feel like no matter how many times you listen to it, you'll think like, oh yeah, that did happen, and then you'll get you thinking, well, wasn't there something else kind of similar to that? And it'll just start the gears turning, and having your mind just go to other pieces of
Mhm.
film and even just media that have been influenced by some of the other things that we've discussed.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like, okay, so I do agree with you, like, Cool Hand Luke is one of my favorites because that was, like, the first time it was, like, us 3, and I remember the first recording we had with you, like, there was an issue, so, like, we didn't get all your audio, which was kinda, like, shitty. So, like, I almost feel like that Cool Hand Luke was, like, your first official episode, even though you were in that episode, it was just, like, a technical issue, but, like, I feel like that was, like that's one of my favorites because it just feels like the first time we had, like, our trio. Um, what was there was Ghostbusters is another one because
Oh
we
yeah,
all had
Ghostbusters
varied
was fun.
opinions. We had all varied opinions, like, I definitely disliked it the most, Matt fucking loved it, and you were, like, kinda in the middle of both of us, so it was, like, it kinda, like, was a good
It
dynamic.
encompassed
We all
everything.
we
Yeah.
we all had varied
I forgot
opinions.
about I would have said Ghostbusters if I remembered that. Oh man. Yeah,
That's one of my
Ghostbusters was a ton of fun.
that was definitely one of my favorites because, like and Matt was getting so mad 'cause, like, I wasn't shitting on the movie, I was like, "Yeah, it was good," but, like, I had issues, and Matt, like, was not having it, and he had his popcorn, and he was so pissed. That was funny. Um,
Yeah. Oh man, that was great.
what were the other ones? I have a little bit more than 5. So, the Snowman, that one's always gonna be one of my favorites just because it was, like, more of a somber episode, but, like, we all kinda got, like, really deep and philosophical, and
Yeah.
I thought that
We
was, like, a really interesting discussion for sure.
definitely the snowman because
Yeah.
I've told some of my friends were like, I'm looking for something different to listen to. And I was like, listen to um oh I take back what I said. I'm adding in one more. The King of Comedy. Because
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
my commentary in King of Comedy, I've had people say I was crying, I was laughing so hard I was in tears. That I didn't mean to derail that. I apologize.
Yeah, no, go for it, yeah, that's why I have
I'm
more
adding
than
King of
5 on
Comedy.
mine. That's a good one. That was a good one. Um, yeah, what were the other ones? Oh, Cool World. I like Cool World, that was a good one because it was such an out there movie, and it was always, like, a movie on my list that you recommended, and that kinda leads up to my next favorite episode. This is not in order, this is just kinda, like, ones that kinda are memorable in my head. That made me think of, like, a weird animated movie to recommend, which was that, Adventures of what was it? The Adventures of, Tom Saw not Tom Sawyer,
The Huck
Mark
Finn.
Twain.
Yeah, Mark
Mark
Twain.
Twain, yeah, the Mark Twain, claymation movie, which is, like, batshit insane, so that made me go to that direction. So that's why those 2 kinda, like, feel like, you know, like part 1 and part 2 in my mind because they kinda, like, fit the same feel. What was else? Oh, when we interviewed Corey Danziger, that's definitely a highlight. That was really fun.
That was really
He was
cool.
great.
Definitely when we interviewed him, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna talk to a real like a real celebrity." Like I've met and talked to celebrities before. Like I've met the band Paramore down in downtown Nashville years
Oh,
ago.
that's cool.
I've met the president George Bush back when he was still in office, and I think I've met a couple of other people. Like just local celebrities. But like, as far as like an actor go, like meeting the president, like yeah, that's cool. But I don't really care nothing about meeting the president. Corey Danziger, he was in freaking Star Trek.
Yeah, he was. He was in Star Trek. He was in Star Trek, he was in Beethoven, he was in The Burbs, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he was a really cool guy, and, like, he had a lot of perspectives that, like, I wouldn't really think about, like, his ideas of, like, manifesting kinda what you want in life. I thought that was really interesting and kinda took a lot
yeah,
out of that. It wasn't just like we're just talking about his movie roles, which we were, but it was just like we're talking about life and, his aspects and, like, how he kind of viewed, his journey. So, I thought
and
that was cool.
he was just very laid back. I know we were trying to be really respectful, calling him Mr. Danziger, and just kind of trying to be real forward. But he's like, you
Yeah.
guys don't have to do
Just
that.
call me
I'm
Corey.
just call me Corey, and I'm like, okay, I'm on a first name basis.
Yeah.
I'm part of the cool kids now.
Yeah. Now we got his number, which we won't disclose because 'cause we're nice,
No, because we're
but
very good people, and
yeah,
Mr. Danziger
he's our
is a
friend.
very stand-up man.
Yeah, maybe we'll have him back on. I think, that'd be cool to have him back on. I actually have a couple other questions I do wanna ask him, but we'll save that for future episode, maybe. We'll see. Um, what else? Oh, Casablanca, that was one of my favorites just 'cause
Yeah.
it was a different discussion and, like, I don't know, like, I was going through like, a weird moment in my life at that point, and, like, that movie kinda reflected on what was going on in my life. So, like, I was like, we gotta talk about this." So, that was fun, like, talking about the real world implications of, like, the war, um, and, like, how that kinda tied in, and, it's a really good movie, and it's the reason why it's one of the best movies ever made, and I feel like people don't really talk about it. I mean, they do, but not really as much as I should today.
It's not as much
Um,
recognition as it deserves.
yeah. Okay, I have 2 more. So, Blowout with Tony,
Oh
Tony's pick,
yeah.
Blowout. Yeah, 'cause I liked the movie, Matt hated the movie. I feel like he
I
was
was
somewhere in the middle.
I was kind of so like I hated the beginning, but the end I'm like, okay, now we're picking up steam. I'm liking this. And then it kind of fell flat. I'm like, it was, it lost me in places, it had me in places. I was just like, and interest was sparked and then immediately lost. It's John Travolta. He's gonna do John Travolta stuff.
Right? I like
But
that
it
one
was,
too because it was like a Tony-centric episode too. It was like a different piece.
yeah. And it's always fun to have Tony on. You
Yeah,
know what? I
we
might
need
bring
more
Tony on for
Tony.
one of my picks because I think one
Yeah,
of them he's really gonna like.
we do need Tony back on for sure. He did do that other movie, Good Time. That was a fun one. That was a good one
That
too.
was a really good one that I
That movie
wasn't
was really
expecting to
good.
like.
Yeah,
Tony,
that
if
I
you're
like.
watching this, Good Times was a very solid pick, and I enjoyed
Yeah,
that movie.
Tony,
Don't
come back
recommend me
on.
another A24 movie though. I'm not a fan of those.
I like A24 movies. There's a lot I like. There's some that are weird, but, like, I
Yeah,
enjoy
I've
them
seen
because
the
they're, like,
weird
different.
ones, and I'm like,
Yeah.
just
I have one I wanna recommend. I have 2 actually. There's one I haven't seen and one I've seen, but I have talked about it, but not on the podcast, so, we'll probably I'll recommend it at some point. And this is not really one particular episode, it's a amalgamation of a lot of episodes. It's my last choice was Superman Smashes the Klan and Superman versus the Fiery Cross, 'cause it was
oh
just, like,
yeah,
such a big
like that was a
tale.
big thing, and
Yeah.
we spread that across
It's like
2 or 3
at
episodes. I
least.
think it was three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, at least 3 I think it was 3. Oh, and we had, Steven Biscotti from, the Saturday Morning Superman show to join us for the first
Yeah,
portion of it,
yeah.
which was fun. It's always great to have guests on. It was cool, like, to have, him incorporated into, the conversation. Oh, I gotta say, SK Illustrations, every time he's on, it's always fun. Like, every time we
Oh,
do
he's a ton
the
of fun.
Halloween
He's
discussion.
great.
Yeah, so hopefully we have him on again this year. He's always like it always feels like, "Alright, we gotta have SK during Halloween." It's Halloween now, we gotta have him on.
It's
But
funny you said that because for my Halloween picks, which I already have, I want to bring SK on.
oh, that'd be cool. Okay. Alright. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll mention it to him too. Yeah, so those I definitely did more than 5, but those were the ones that, are in my memory. Those are the ones that I definitely go back to the most. I gotta say, Ghostbusters and the Snowman are the ones I probably listen to the most, going back.
Yeah, Snowman definitely was a. It wasn't so much as a unique episode. It was an episode where everybody had their own unique viewpoint about it,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like, yeah, I can understand where you were coming from with that one, but here was kind of what I was seeing and thinking about, and we all just kept getting, such vastly different opinions and ideas that if it's not that there was a right or wrong answer. It was an answer that felt right to you.
Yeah, no, I agree, and, yeah, nothing like you said, every interpretation wasn't, like, wrong, just, like, open a different perspective, like, that's the interpretation, like, open a different perspective I wouldn't have thought about, and now I watch it, and I think like that, I'm like, "Oh, okay, maybe," like but it's a movie that, keeps you thinking, which I do enjoy. Latrey, if you're still there, I'll give you a hug as long as you don't make it weird.
He's
So
gonna make it weird.
um, I think that's it for the BSBS. Do you have anything else? What was,
Um, I'm trying to think. Oh God. Yeah, yeah, that is it. I don't have anything else. I thought I might have another episode, which I probably will have like the second we cut, the stream of the
right.
recording, and then I'll be like, "Oh, this one was a absolute phenomenal episode." But I'll just add it in later.
Yeah, that's alright, that's cool. Oh, while I have you here, I'm gonna put you on the spot now. This is the last part of BSBS. What is your 6th Pokemon for your
I
team?
actually have that now.
You could do 8 if
So
you really want, but
I've got 6. So for my
okay.
6, I just did, the OG Generation 1 because that's what, a lot of people really know. So for
You can
mine,
do whatever you want. Whatever you want, Jared. Don't
and
have to
for
limit
it was a
yourself.
lot simpler for me to just do Gen 1 because I'm like, God, if I spread it across too much, that's just going to be freaking ridiculous.
I get you.
So for mine, my first one is Alakazam and Gengar because Psychic and Ghost types are my absolute favorites.
Yeah. Yeah, those are ones that would be on my team.
Um,
Alakazam would always be on
let's
the team.
see, Blastoise because I always loved water Pokemon. Primeape because I always played Pikachu Yellow as a kid, and Primeape was the powerhouse I always needed. I never knew about, so that was really cool. Some people might be like, "That's such a weird choice," but for number 5, mine is Butterfree. Just because people are like, bug type Pokemon are so weak, they're only useful for like in the early stages when you really need them, and that's when it really counts. Because sure, they might be the stepping stones, but even though they're the stepping stones, they're always gonna be there for you when you need them. Bug type Pokemon deserve just as much respect as everyone else. And then for my 6th one, it is what is it? What is it? I can see it in my mind's eye. It's um what's it called? Gyarados.
Okay, Gyarados.
Gyarados, it was one of those Pokemon like it
That's a
evolves
good
from a
choice.
useless fish
Yeah, but it
and
always
then it
becomes
turns
a
into
badass
this
dragon.
all powerful badass. And there's of course the myth behind the koi fish swimming, I think, up a stream or down a stream. I always mess it up. And then then it turns into a dragon. And I'm like, I like that kind of symbology where it starts off, just doing its own thing, and then it turns into something much greater, which was very, very cool.
I do like that, yeah. So, okay, I missed 2 of them. I missed the 2 after Blastoise.
Primate and
Oh,
Butterfree.
okay, cool. Alright. This helps. Alright. Alright, perfect. Alright, now we're gonna move on from our BSBS segment. Sorry about that, if, you notice any technical difficulties or not, but still must go on. Um, Jerry, do you wanna take the reins on this subject?
Yes, I do, because I know my opinion is going to differ greatly from yours, and I'm curious to see what you have to say.
Like,
So,
okay, I just wanna say, like, I have, like, a treatment, like, that's, like, half a story and then I stop, so go ahead.
so for this next segment, we're going to be talking about incorporating Superman into the Dark Knight universe. And first and foremost, while I'm going to be adding Superman, I'm also going to add in a couple of other Justice League members as well, just so it would make cohesive sense for what I'm going
Mm,
to do.
okay.
So for me, I'm gonna start all the way at uh, what was it? The Dark Knight Rises, I think was the
Yeah.
first one.
Are you the Dark Knight Rises is the last one. It's Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and then Dark Knight Rises.
Batman Begins. Thank you. I'm gonna start at the very first one,
Okay.
and so as Batman is obviously fighting the Joker, getting everything kind of set up as okay, I'm Batman. I'm here to defend Gotham City. I'm gonna, for me, when the Joker is trying to blow up, he's at the hospital with Harvey Dent. I would add in secretly Diana as a person, as a just a very quick cameo, just visiting like a close friend or somebody she's met over the years, who is like, oh, she might have like a broken arm or something in the hospital, and then boom, Diana's in and she saves her friend from the hospital blowing up, and kind of keeping an eye out during a lot of what's going on there.
Are you talking about a hospital blowing up by the Joker? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so that's Dark Knight. That's the second one.
Second one, damn. You know what? I'll just start from the Dark Knight. It's been a long time. I apologize. I started with the Dark Knight.
I wanted to clarify, yes. Okay.
And so, I was, I wouldn't do too much. I'm not trying to, just overbear. Maybe just add in, just Diana, obviously, because, she's in Batman versus Superman, but she's already kind of established as a cameo. And you could, maybe get a flash of the lasso of justice and her gauntlets, as she saves her friend or whoever she's visiting in the hospital, just doing a wellness check. And then, further down the line, I would in the Dark Knight Rises, not the Dark Knight Rises. What the hell is it? You just said it. The third one.
You just said it. That's right. You're correct.
Okay, the Dark Knight. Thank you. So in the Dark Knight Rises, I would add in Victor Stone while he's still, a flesh and blood person before he gets, the enhancements of the mother box and turns into cyborg. I would have him, I would actually turn this into a scene. Kind of when God, I haven't watched The Dark Knight Rises in so long. I would add in a scene where Victor Stone goes to, like a thrift store or something, and he bumps into somebody like, oh, hey, you collecting old Batman memorabilia. And then somebody asks him, like, oh, what are you here looking for? He's like, oh, I'm looking for, the Man of Steel and Superman, circa like 1957. Just a random number. It's not really important, but just, just random number to throw in.
Okay.
And then, just keep looking and looking. And then in the shot, I would put in, like a primo grade unwrapped toy of Henry Cavill as his Superman. And then obviously, have Victor Stone pick it up and say, yeah, this is the one that I gotta have. This thing just speaks to me. And then, he would take it to the counter and the guy would be like, oh, sorry, that one's on reserve for, a special order that we have going on. And then maybe have like a back shot of him, like not a back, but a side pan of Henry Cavill, like walking into the store and up to the counter and just tapping Victor Stone on the shoulder and being like, sorry, bud, that's that's mine. I got to have it. That's how I would personally add in, Diana and Victor Stone Cyborg, because we don't have to say anything about Ezra Miller at all. No. I'm not saying anything. I'm not doing anything. Aquaman.
It could be another actor.
Aquaman can do whatever else. I wanted to give, because I like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I think she's very good. And I want to give Victor Stone kind of his flowers and do justice to give him a chance.
Right. Yeah, like kind of utilized the Snyder cut. It's like the one where he actually had some time to shine. But,
yeah,
I agree.
But that's how I would personally add in, Superman,
so
Wonder
you do
Woman,
like a full
Cyborg.
Justice League, yeah, almost like a full Justice League. He's at SeaWorld.
And I'm sure after Josh says his, I'm going to come up with a better idea. But it's been so long since I've watched any of the Christian Bale Batman movies. My mind is just a little bit foggy trying to remember details.
No, that's fair. Like I said, mine is kind of like a half treatment. So if you want me to finish it, maybe let us know in the comments, and then maybe I'll add on to it. But I'll let you know. This is
donate us $10 and we'll even film it.
Yeah,
with Christopher Nolan
for $10. We'll use probably action figures with that budget, but okay. So this is my treatment. I wrote this in March, so this is a while ago I wrote this. So okay, so it starts out this is, right after Dark Knight Rises, so, just to remind you guys, after Dark Knight Rises, Bruce Wayne is presumed dead, but then, Alfred goes to France, and he sees, Bruce Wayne having a nice dinner with Selena Kyle, and he just looks at him, nods his head, and walks away, and then, like, that's kinda Batman's happy ending. So, it starts 1 year after The Dark Knight Rises. Selena and, Batman and Bruce Wayne are going steady, they're together because they're living in Paris together. Selena is getting restless and can't resist, stealing, but she can't resist stealing, but starts small and gets more and more elaborate. So, she probably starts at stealing a croissant at first, and then, like, steals, like, someone's jewelry from their purse, and then goes, ramps up to, like, diamonds. So this is a year after the events of The Dark Knight Rises, so, like, there's been some time in between. So, like, she's kinda ramping up. She can't, like, totally put away her persona of a cat burglar. Bruce Wayne is too busy being retired and being a full philanthropist, to notice that she's stealing anything. He's just like, "I love life, I'm done being Batman. This is great." Batman's reign was during Superman's at oh, so okay. So, at the same time this is the Dark Knight Rises universe, and I'm using the Superman Returns universe. So this is gonna be Brandon Routh's Superman. So Brandon Routh's Superman, he went out to Krypton to find out if there was any life, you know, staying at Krypton, and then he realized that, oh, that's why he returns, because he's been away, for X amount of years. So during his whole absence, this is when Batman was becoming Batman. So Superman was out of this is why Superman's been out of the picture this whole time, because he was visiting Krypton and Superman returned. So that's the reason. So yeah, so Batman's reign was during Superman's absence, traveling to Krypton in Superman Returns. Superman takes place a few months um, after The Dark Knight Rises. Oh, so when Superman returns, it's 3 months after Dark Knight Rises. So the timeline fits. Clark and Lois are still on the fritz. Still, she's still with Richard White. Richard White is Perry White's, I guess, son. They had a baby together, but she is madly in love with Superman and can barely hide it. Richie starts to draw back. Richard White starts to draw back from Lois Lane. Lois, during the time of Batman's absence, has been diving into her story on who is and was the Batman and if he's really gone. So she's been really keen and interested in who the Batman is, and especially after his absence, after that whole bomb went off in Gotham City. Eventually, she travels to France, hearing that sightings of the same cat burglar who was with Batman the day he disappeared has been seen in France. So basically, Selena Kyle is the one who's bringing the limelight back on Batman, because she can't hold back. She has to be a cat burglar. She has to be Catwoman. She can't retire. She can't hold it back. Batman is enjoying life. He's like, I'm done being Batman. So where am I? So sightings of cat burglar who was with Batman the day he disappeared. Also sightings of Bruce Wayne's description. She suspects him of being Batman from all the evidence he's been gathering over the years. Um, John Blake. Oh, that's right. I forgot about him. John Blake, if you don't remember, is that wannabe Robin Batman guy, who's in Gotham City after The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh
No?
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about it. So good thing I cleared that up. Okay. So John Blake has been scraping by. Not too much crime has been uh, in Gotham City since the Bane incident. So he's wearing the Dark Knight outfit, and he doesn't have the full proper training. So basically, he's like dealing with muggings, like basically basic police. Uh, so, but there hasn't been like a full out big, super villain esque disaster since Batman has left. So it's been kind of like easy pickings for him. So he could like kind of pretend he's a good Batman. During the events of Bane's tirade, Joker has escaped with his psychologist Harley Quinn, and stays low and for his time to strike. So Heath Ledger's still alive, because he's alive. He's alive in this. John Blake gets too cocky, taking down petty thugs and mobsters, lack of being a big league villain. So, he's taking down like small time little gangsters. Joker has been sending out his cronies onto the streets to test John Blake's skills. So he's like, this ain't Batman. Let's see what we can do if we throw some psychotics his way. And he's just kind of testing his grounds and seeing, still staying under the underbelly. He's not really revealing that he's been out and escaped. Um, until one day, Joker discovers for himself where he is hiding and hides a bomb, um, a bomb into the cave wall. And him and Harley take down John Blake by surprise. He's knocked down from the debris. Joker says, "You're very sloppy, Mr. Blake. Where's the real Batman?" Blake claims he died with the bomb that Bane has set in the Dark Knight universe timeline, with the bomb, but Joker knows better and takes him while leaving his card. So he takes John Blake. So this is why Batman has to come back from the shadows because his underling has been taken away. Alfred, discovering the wreck, sees Joker's card and proceeds to travel to contact Mr. Wayne. Lois and Alfred arrive in Paris just days apart. So they're both going to Paris around the same time, but they're doing their own. They have their own reasons. Catwood, Catwoman then proceeds to steal a large cat statue and hide it from her lover Bruce. So there's this giant gold cat statue that's been in France, Paris, France, been in generations. It's probably been made in the 1700s. She has to steal it because she's the cat. So Catwoman, steals, and she hides it from her lover Bruce. Lois picks up the clues and guesses where to strike next. With a lot of persuading, she gets access to the Museum of Art security room, standing with a guard. So she kind of knows this is where the cat, from the breadcrumbs leading up, she kind of feels like this is where Catwoman's going to strike next. The guard says, "You're wasting your time. No one could get past the security system." But right on cue, Lois spots the cat burglar and rushes into action to catch the cat thief red-handed on camera. Catwoman is too preoccupied with the statue to take notice of Lois. So this cat statue is at the museum where Lois figured out the breadcrumb. She grabs her snapshot and almost gets away but the security guard sets the alarm too early before Lois has the chance to leave, illuminating her to the cat. So basically, all the gates go up, guard gets out, he puts the alarm system on, but basically trapped Lois Lane and Catwoman inside the museum. Lois puts up surprisingly a good fight with her military training from her father, but Lois ultimately loses the statue. Lois, so Lois and the statue are nowhere to be. Catwoman brings Lois to her hideout in and, a lead sealed. This is important. A lead sealed warehouse where she has gathered her own where she has gathered her stolen items and ties Lois Lane up. So this is her warehouse. No one knows about it, not even Bruce Wayne. She has all her collectibles that she has been stealing throughout the past year in this warehouse.
Hmm.
Lois leaving her. Oh, okay. Lois leaving her there to. Oh, okay. So she leaves Lois, and then she goes to entertain Bruce, who is starting to get suspicious after an alarm trip that night. So Bruce Wayne hears about this. It's a pretty elaborate burglary, and he's like, "Huh, something's been kind of off about you, Selena, and this burglary is kind of fit your MO. What's going on?" But he's kind of too like involved in his own philanthropist life to really dive too deep into it. He's just like, weird. Clark heard from Perry that Lois hasn't been heard from in days and that he contacted the authorities in France. So Clark insists on taking the assignment. Perry is skeptical but agrees. Clark takes a flight to reduce suspicion. So he actually takes a flight, doesn't fly there. So Bruce tries to confront Selena about the museum incident, but she charms her way out of the conversation, satisfying his needs. You could, you know, that's all I need to say about that. It says she only wears the outfit now for special occasions between the two of them. Okay, move on. Alfred then barges into the home until Selena and Bruce leave the bedroom. So he's waiting there for a little bit. Bruce questions Alfred's intrusion because they kind of had a silent agreement that Alfred would never bother Bruce. After the events of the Dark Knight Rises, Alfred then explains the circumstances and shows Batman the Joker card and explains that John Blake has been captured by the Joker. Selena is loving every moment of this because because the heat of the moment is on the Joker and not on her. So like all the pressure that he was putting on Selena, like, oh, what's going on with the museum? Now that's all that attention has been put on the Joker. So she is loving it because she's like, oh, she's relieved. Bruce asks Alfred if someone else can deal with the situation until Alfred shows him the Joker card. Bruce then knows Bruce then knows that only Batman can handle this. So the real Batman has to come back to Gotham City. He reluctantly agrees to go to Gotham with Alfred. Bruce then asks Selena to go help him find John. She agrees, hoping that helping him will settle the blows, and later with uh, settle the blows with the kidnapping and thievery. Bruce says this is the last time he's going to be Batman. While the conversation is going on, Lois struggles to escape the warehouse, but manages to do so while with her cunning wit. She takes what notes she takes what notes and evidence she can and contacts the authority. Catwoman, in her haste to join Bruce, was sloppy and left a clear trail for Lois to follow the police and drew into the area. So basically, Catwoman was very sloppy because she was just trying to cover her tracks with Bruce Wayne and didn't really fully, you know, cover herself with Lois Lane because she's just trying to cover herself with Bruce. She thought that was more important. So that's why Lois got out pretty easily and found where Selena was leaving Bruce, Alfred, and Selena gather gear to prepare for their mission. Lois arrives at the Wayne Manor, hidden from the public as their bat plane leaves the premises. So while the bat plane's leaving with all three of them, Lois Lane sees it. Selena watches from the passenger window as Lois stumbles on the ground, and a feeling of dread and excitement comes over Selena at the same moment. Lois can only watch um, the plane as it bullets away. Where I
Man, yours is way better than mine. I just added in, like a couple of quick, like cameos in one small scene. I feel like I just said dog shit.
I was really trying to make the timeline fit. I'm like, okay, how can I do this? And I haven't read that in so long. I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm reading. I'm like, what? Now I remember how good it was. So that's
Man,
where I left off. I didn't even get to Clark Kent arriving in France or Clark Kent meeting Batman. I got like maybe I would say that's about a quarter away, halfway through the story. I would say a third. We'll yeah, a third away through the story. So that's all I got.
Man, I really feel like I just dropped the ball.
No, you
Because I was like, I
that
don't want to change too much up in the Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins. So I was like, I'll just add in a quick cameo of Wonder Woman at the hospital because that was, one of the most memorable scenes from the second movie.
yes, it definitely was.
So it's like, oh, the scene's already memorable. So let's test, people's observation skills and just boom, there's Diana right there in the hospital. See if people are ready to accept and recognize that. Boom, Dark Knight Rises. Here's Victor Stone going in this thrift store, and here comes Henry Cavill to pick up his, Superman order.
I'm curious what Matt has because I know he has something for this.
Yeah, because I know for me, I enjoyed, the Dark Knight Rises and Batman Begins. So I was like, I don't want to alter it too much, but now I'm kind of wishing, like, well, maybe I should have. Or maybe, like adding an extension on.
Right. No, that's why I didn't want to change anything from the movies. So I'm like, okay, all those happen. What is canon? And that's why I'm taking. Now it takes place right after, like a year after, and Superman returns. He was gone for like 5 years. So during the absence, that's when Batman was Batman. So
yeah, time space. With the logic of flying at light speed and stuff. Because even though you're further, you're gone for 5 years, when you come back, a lot more time has passed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So
because I think like 1 light year is like the equivalent of like 4 point whatever like standard years of
I don't know.
time passage.
I know it's something like that. I know it's like the faster you move in time. No, the faster you're moving, the slower time moves. Yes. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Very, very relatively. Am I saying that? With Einstein's theory. But yes, thank you, Cody Dandy. The whole script with the budget too. I don't know if that was really a budget. If that was like really made, that would be pretty pricey movie. Yeah, and I was trying to incorporate. I wanted Selena and Lois Lane to have like a butting head, like not competition, but like they're like it's
like just a cat fight.
Yeah, exactly, the cat fight, and they were like the significant others of the main heroes. I wanted that to kind of be the start of like how they meet, and like that tension between the girlfriends is like what makes them kind of meet up. Like what is going on? So that's what
because that's an angle I really never even thought of. Even like watching some of the other media with Batman and Superman, like what if Lois Lane and Selena, had their moment to just kind of duke it out.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's an interesting thing to explore.
Lois Lane does have her military training, so like you want to be like a full patsy, you would put up a fight with Selena, but I think Selena would ultimately win that fight. So like she would
so
put in her own.
She's Catwoman. She fights dirty.
Right.
And, it comes with the territory.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my story. If you guys want to hear the rest of it, I guess I could write something out.
Donate us $40 and we'll do it again. But this time, Josh will be in costume with a Henry Cavill backdrop.
Yeah, we'll act it out.
Yeah. We'll even get
what's what? Name? You know how we're talking about a radio show? Maybe we could do something with this. We could make this a radio drama. So if you want this to be a radio drama, we could do that.
If you want to submit your if you want to apply, just drop a DM to us on the BatYard's Instagram page, not our personal links, because we won't look at those because that's weird and creepy.
Yeah. But just message Matt's personal link because he's not here. just bother Matt. That's it.
But I really do think how you have it set up is a very interesting way. So it's like it's a newsworthy event going on that has more ties to it than what people are going to be expecting.
Yeah, yeah, and Lois Lane would be very keenly interested in like what's going on with that, especially if he just disappears one day. Like, who is this guy?
Hmm.
Come on. Supposed to
Especially the
turn
fact
to
that he's just gone overnight with no no warning, no goodbye letter, no nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It's presumed he's dead, but she's smarter than that.
Yeah,
Well,
Lois's intuition as a reporter is a lot better than what people give it credit for.
no, I agree. I think she's a very intelligent character, and I think they should utilize her more that way in storylines instead of like, you know, they kind of did it in Man of Steel. She was kind of smart, and then they kind of made her like pointless in later other movies. But that's a whole other discussion for a different time.
We'll
So
save that for the third bonus episode.
yeah, if you guys enjoyed these bonus episodes, definitely let us know in the comments below. I think the next bonus episode we'll do is the first two episodes of My Adventures with Super, because I do want to talk about that. I've been watching it. I really enjoy it. I think it's really great. It's really fun, and I think the dynamic between Lois and Superman is really cute in a good way. Like I really enjoy it. Um, yeah, and the animation is like more like an anime, which I don't know if I can technically say this is an anime because I think it's made in America. I don't know. What tribulations with that, Jerry? Isn't an anime like have to be in
Um,
Japan?
that the Western animation anime debate has been a very kind of ongoing and weird thing because to me, like in my opinion, if it's in the animation style that we know anime as, that's anime, in my opinion. Regardless of, whether it comes from us, Japan, China, whoever, might do an anime. Because I've seen a few clips from it and I'm like, this looks like an anime. Like the animation budget looks really, looks really good, looks really clean. There's not really, a lot of the sequences and scenes that they use. I'm like, you can tell that this was inspired by some animes. So I would personally classify it as an anime, but I know some people are like, well, it didn't really, count as anime. It's more of just a Western adaptation of blah blah blah. And I'm not getting technical with all that crap.
Like what's that movie? Not that movie. That show. That Nickelodeon show. The Last Airbender. Like that's like a anime made in America kind of situation.
Yeah, and people are like, you know, the everything from the hard hitting scenes, the fun stuff, the deep messages of Avatar. It's like Avatar. People say Avatar is a cartoon, but it does so much more than just be a cartoon. Everyone's like, this is really an anime because of a lot of the serious tones and things that it hits. And I think for me, cartoons and anime are whatever you want it to be. It doesn't just have to be one specific thing. You know, to me, animation is just animation, regardless of how it's presented.
I know. I agree. Okay, so then this is if by Jerry's accounts, then this is an anime, and I enjoy this. So this counts. No, I do really agree. I do like this. I like it a lot. Um, and it's great. It's great to see Superman animation, just not anime, like an animation again. Like the last thing he was in animation, like as a TV series, was the cartoon from the '90s. You know?
Yeah, I was going to say it's been as far as a standalone too, it's been a
Yeah.
considerable time
Right. I
because
know. Like
obviously there's the movies and
right.
everything else, but that's got other heroes from the
Yeah.
DC verse inside of it.
Yeah, and there was there's a few callbacks to like the other universes. Like the last episode that came out, there was callbacks to like that universe and other universes, which was fun. And they even referenced the Fleischer universe, which was cool as well. Um and I do enjoy it. I think that, like I said, the dynamic between Lois and Clark is my favorite stuff. Honestly, like when I get to the villains, like I almost want that to speed up so they just get back to like their, you know, their relationship, because that's the fun stuff for me. That's stuff I like the most, which is kind of weird to say. I want them to pass the villains, but that's how good it is. So I do recommend it. Yeah, we'll do that for the next bonus episode. Hopefully, we do Harry Potter and the Snakes of Sauron for the next episode and finish that. What is this
Be on
called?
the lookout. We're gonna touch base with Matt. It's a lot of just crazy work, schedules going on. So we're hoping to get that out soon to everybody, because
Yeah,
I
so,
have some strong opinions about Harry Potter.
so please bother Matt with that. I thought I would look like Clark Kent, but I'm just seeing like all these screens, so I'm gonna put these away. Yeah, so bother Matt, make him come back on the show. And we'll definitely do these again. So that'll be the next bonus episode. That's why I'm announcing it now, because we don't have a movie to announce. Well, I do, but we have to wait for Matt.
We're shooting for potentially next week.
Hopefully. Yes. If not, we'll just do it without him. I'm joking. It's his pick, and we'll do it without him. That'll be kind of shitty. Yeah. So, okay, I guess we're gonna be done with this. Okay, 3, 2, 1. This is Josh from BatYard Productions, sending you up, and away until next BatYard's finest episode.
This is Jerry, guiding you all with Green Lantern's light. This is Superman's pal, Matt. And we're becoming super friends one episode at a time. Hey, wow. Matt was here on the episode.
Thanks, Matt. I can't believe he cameoed for this episode. That's amazing. Thank you.
Wow.